Hey guys, this is the Baron back again. So in today's video I want to discuss all types of weather elements that could be introduced into Battlefield 4. Now we already know of course that dynamic weather is going to play a huge part in gameplay, but for the most part we've only really seen one weather dynamic, and that is of course the rainstorm featured in Parasol Storm obviously, where the game turns dark and it starts pouring down with wind blowing trees away, the lightning strikes the turbines and lets loose that massive battleship. So that's what I'm trying to bring out today. But from this, what else could we see happen within Battlefield 4, and what situations could arise similar to Parasol Storm that could really make this game great? So in this video I'm not just going to talk about the vanilla maps, I'm going to try and expand to all DLCs. All speculation, of course, we don't know what the DLC maps look like or what they'll incorporate for the most part. But it's better to talk about it now rather than later. So I'll try to list them and describe best as I can. Hopefully you guys will understand my ideas. First off, for basic weather elements on maps like Omen and Firestorm and similar desert-based maps are of course the massive sandstorms roll in and absolutely just stop all vision to a player. A situation could arise where a storm hits and it could make things fall over like cranes, buildings and other large structures, or small structures. It would also stop air combat dead in its tracks. Not being able to see while you fly could have bad consequences. Now if this idea was to happen, I don't think it would affect gameplay all that bad. You'd still have your map to reference to, but I see that as a problem in some ways. The purpose of a sandstorm is to make you get lost, and if you have a map you wouldn't get lost. So what I was thinking, DICE should make the sandstorm pop up every so often so it will turn off and on. It would slowly tear away at certain destructibles, and then once the final storm hits, that destructible will fall over. So something similar like that. And during the storm, turn off and disorient the map so players won't know where their team, enemy and structures are located if they look on their map. The player can only see what is in front of them. Now I don't think that DICE would ever do this. It's really not it's not core to gameplay, the Battlefield gameplay. However, I can see this as just a all new game mode where you have to stay together and work your way through around the map and through the sandstorm. Just an idea that I won't go into detail about it, but there it is for you guys to just build upon. Again, with storm types of course is snowstorms with snow type maps or snow themed maps. It could do everything that I just mentioned, but there is something else that I could create as well, and I have said this one in my earlier videos, and that is to create an avalanche, like a large avalanche from a mountain. Now in my other video I described the avalanche concept as a player trigger levolution. I think that's what it still should be, a player triggered levolution, the avalanche. So with weather elements of snowstorms, we can see the weather actually affecting the avalanche trigger, but only if no players have triggered the avalanche. So it's really, again, it's a really simple, really easy thing to do. Now we know from Premium Trailer there will be a DLC that will just focus on naval warfare. And this idea is way out there, but I'm actually thinking that DICE will put this in 100% into this game. And of course, this is the maelstrom concept. If you don't know what a maelstrom is, basically all it is, it's a big whirlpool in the water or in the ocean, obviously, sucking in everything that comes into proximity. This would fit perfectly with the whole naval combat. It makes it hard for players to avoid and even harder to wage warfare through it as well. So now in theory, in real life, it is possible to successfully navigate in and out of a maelstrom. So if DICE added this feature, it could allow players to gain skill, being able to pick out the route to get through the whirlpool or the maelstrom, giving them an advantage in combat, and also teaching them the safe areas of how to navigate through an ocean. When I always think of this idea, I always think of Pirates of the Caribbean's At World's End, the third movie, in the scene where the two ships fighting against each other inside the actual maelstrom. So I would love to see something like that come into the Naval Warfare DLC, or even just the vanilla maps as well. Now, similar to this, this is to have cyclones at sea. The waves created by weather can now throw off any player. And to keep the weather balanced, obviously, is to have the eye of the storm a calm sea. So if you don't know what I'm kind of talking about, if you are stuck in a cyclone storm at sea in real life, you always try to get to the center of the storm, or the eye, as I just said, as is the most calmest place to be during a storm on the ocean. So it adds that reality factor and also adds that balance for players as well in the game. The storms in general can create many situations on open sea, so maybe the battle is taking place between huge battleships fighting against each other, and you're trying to get the middle ground using your smaller ships, and then suddenly a storm hits and then those ships become damaged, sinking into the ocean or crashing into other ships. So it gives that sense of danger and it tells the players to stay away. We could also see the ocean oil refineries collapse onto onto players underneath or exploding, negating nearby ships. So stuff like you'd see on the ocean would be great. It would be a great thing to see be destructible and stuff like that. So it's not just open water. Another idea I had was that we could put it on that could be put on any map really is the lightning strike elements. Now we have seen a bit of that on Paracel Storm. Like we see like kind of lightning, and it does hit that turbine just once. But I really want to see it become like more part of gameplay. The most obvious being that the lightning strikes a large object and it falls over. That's basic stuff. But I actually want to see it constantly hit an object or objects, or the ground even, just causing that effect of a constant blinding to a player, as if like you've just saw a flashbang go off right in front of you. So you're running around and all of a sudden the lightning hits a radio tower that you're looking at or something like that. It would blind you for a really short time and then you just move on. The further away you are from the strike and the less focused you are on the area of the strike that happened, the less effect it would be by blinding, standard physics rules. So that's really simple, just a blinding effect. So could you be killed by a lightning strike? I think we shouldn't be able to be killed by lightning strikes. It's way too much of a random factor. The lightning strike should only be hitting certain areas, mainly higher objects, as lightning strikes would do in real life. So if you're looking at that lightning strike, you're gonna get blinded, but you won't die from it. My next idea was to have some of the maps have a certain heat wave effect to it, stopping vision to a certain point. So if you'd be looking down the road in a desert or something like that, and as you focus further away, the horizon starts to become disoriented due to the heat, just like in real life. Levolution concepts that could arise from this could be certain materials that just don't work well in heat, like extreme heat, like explosives or flammable objects. So these objects would be placed around the map safe from heat, and when player triggered actions could let them become exposed to heat and then used to an advantage. So you could be just running around and you see like an explosive in the shade, and then you blow a hole to make the sun penetrate the barrel and it would explode just to your advantage. Simple easy stuff like that could make the game more interesting. Another easy one was to have fog become present. We've already seen some of that in the other Battlefield series, so it's a given it would return. Forces players to use infrared scopes, so that would be interesting to see as well. The rain, again, we could see flash floods, tidal waves, and as I've said in other videos, it could also include heavy rain elements to negate vision on the player's screen, so you can actually see like it disorientates your player's screen. The rain could also create loud noise to stop players from hearing you like sneaking up from behind. So that rain hitting maybe the shelters or like buildings can create like a really loud noise, so you can go around stealthily. I was also thinking darts could include hail, so that the players had to be undercover when it hits, so they wouldn't get damaged. Obviously, it wouldn't be a constant with dynamic weather element. It would just be something that would go off and on. So the player would have to stay in proximity to a shelter, so they wouldn't get damaged if a hailstorm hits. So you'd be right by and you just jump inside and then come back out. That idea, like it's a good one to build on. Like I can see that working out. Like playing tactically, you can't be outside and then all of a sudden a hailstorm hits and then you have to try and run and get undercover. It's a nice addition to the game. It keeps players on their toes and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's a really good idea, but it's just one you can build upon. So that's all I can think of for my part. If you guys have any ideas, comment below and tell me about it. Your idea could get featured on my channel. I might make a video about your ideas if they're really good. So if you enjoy my ideas and other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks guys so much for your views and comments over at BattlefieldPortal. I've been submitting there a lot lately and I'm getting really good feedback from you guys. But that's it again. Thanks again guys, and I will see you next time.